Told you.
Dude.
How exciting that was. We are live, broadcasting live from the Oval Office. We are here. Trump's kind enough to sit in on this one.
Hell yeah.
Good man. I was just right before we went live. I was looking. They said I seen Elon had tweeted out. It says roughly $15 billion a year spent on utilities and maintenance of unused government buildings. $15 billion a year.
Jesus.
How do you spend that much money on something that you're not even using? You know how much money this country has to just be able to piss that away? And we still talk about it, like anytime there's some kind of disaster, it's like pulling teeth to get help from the government.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Meanwhile, I'm reading shit like that, that this DOGE department's, going through. I mean, every day there's something new that Elon or somebody's broadcasting about the amount of money that they're finding is being spent on just, stuff that it doesn't need to be spent on by any means,
Well, we could house the illegals in there.
We could.
So
It could have been somewhere, or we could, stop spending it and maybe help people dealing with wildfires and floods and
that's cool too.
Yeah. Instead of here's your 750, your $750 while we go spend 15 billion on buildings and shit that they don't even use.
So what's up with Doge, man?
Talking about the coin or the department?
The department.
Oh.
I hear, a lot about the legalities of it, and I kind of see both ways, I guess, kind of, if you start looking into like the literature of the law of what it, it just depends on what it's classified as. Like, are they an advisory agency? Are they?
I thought it was more like accounting. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's kind of how I took it when they first started talking about it. It was just going to be like a department that took over the accounting of where all the money's going in the country. Mm-hmm. Brad, do you understand it any different than that?
No, basically, I mean, I think I understand it as I don't think they have the powers to shut stuff down and
right.
take that money back, but they can at least expose it, I think is what they're doing now. So I don't know. I really don't know what congressional powers he's going to have, or if Trump can even do it through executive orders to get rid of a lot of waste.
Right.
I don't know.
Well, let me ask you. I mean, couldn't it be fine for that department to dig and find what they have to find, and then why would it take an act of Congress just to hand that over to the president and say this is where the money's getting spent? You know what I mean?
What I'm reading is that it basically, if they don't have any congressional powers or any kind of, they have no powers, right? So all they're doing is looking into everything, and they're going back to Trump and saying, hey, this is what we're finding, you should do this, right? Which would make them, on a technicality, an advisory committee, right?
Okay.
And according to the law, in order to be an advisory committee, you have to be 100% transparent and hold open public meetings. So that's where a lot of the, like, not the bitching leftists, but like the law leftists are coming in and saying this is illegal because you are not being 100% transparent. You are not holding open to the public meetings where people can come in and speak, but you're advising the president on shit that you're finding.
Well, I mean, they haven't gotten there yet, but I mean, shit, it's been, it's not like they've been in office and doing that for a year now.
Right.
But I mean, all you gotta do is follow Elon on X and you'll see everything they uncover. Now, I get what you're saying about having a public, being able to go and speak, I guess, if that's the case. But, it to me, it's like, why, no matter what side of the political fence you're on, why would you argue about someone or some entity going in there and finding out where we're wasting billions of taxpayers' dollars? It's crazy that's even an argument. Now, I guess the other side of that is a law is a law, and if they're not doing it right, then that needs to be addressed, I guess. But the amount of just crying and bitching that I'm seeing online from people that we didn't elect Elon, and it's like, who gives a shit? It's who Trump put in that position. I mean, nobody elected Elon, but I mean, we didn't elect RFK.
Right.
We didn't elect anybody he's appointing. That's just, he said from the beginning, this was what I was going to do if I get in, and he's doing it.
And that's why I looked into it more, because I'm like, it's got to go deeper than just we didn't elect Elon, because I mean, there's so many people in government that we didn't elect, it's like.
Right, and that was one of the cries I saw was, that DOGE isn't it's not in the Constitution,
Yeah.
and it's like, and neither is the ATF or the IRS.
Right.
I
Yep.
mean, they're not in the Constitution, but the government found that they were quote unquote needed. So, I mean, I don't know. I
Right.
mean, I'm all for it. It doesn't surprise me that you're getting a lot of, they're getting backlash for it, just
Yeah.
because no matter what he did, no matter who he appointed to what, it was going to get backlash. So it doesn't surprise
Absolutely.
me. It's just, how do you defend the backlash? If
Right.
you're on the other side, like, no, I don't want them to uncover, how much of my tax money is being wasted,
Mhm.
and
Yeah, so that's why I was like, well, all the claims about we didn't elect, I was like, that's just bitching. So I was looking and seeing, like, did Elon Musk commit a crime? And I'm like, let's go see the legalities of what's happening, because like you said, I guess if you really, really, really study and follow the law, you'd have a foot to stand on to be like, hey guys, like, do your thing, but do it legally. Like, let's make sure that every avenue is covered, that we protect ourselves, and there can be nothing more than just bitching, because if they can throw you in fucking prison, they're going to.
Yeah, and I seen they're starting to investigate it because people were doxing some of the people that were in the DOGE department, which is it's illegal to dox a government, official or whatever, employee, and they are considered that. So, they actually have the feds or whatever looking into it, trying to figure out what was going on there, because apparently there were people out there that were giving out the information to some of these people that are working in that department. And that's another one, like, of all the departments to be angry with, why would you be angry with that one?
Right.
Of all the things to disagree with Trump is doing, why would it be, finding out where your tax dollars are going? Like, why? Who disagrees with that? Besides the typical politics that disagree, the politicians, but the everyday citizens, like, how can you bitch about that? But I'm sorry, go ahead, Brad.
But I don't know if it's really the everyday American citizen that's bitching. I'm all for it to see just bring everything to light. But I think when you look at all these liberals that are out here bitching, most of these politicians, because I think a lot of this shit is just slush funds for them, man. If it's U.S. aid, I mean, God, did you read where some of that money was going? If it was, for gay opera in Ireland or something, $3 million, or if it was, $20 million for a Sesame Street set in Jordan, and it's like, dude,
Seriously?
really? Yeah. Oh, dude, it's crazy shit, dude. It really is, man. Yeah, it's crazy shit that they spend the money on. It's nuts.
I seen that USA thing popping up. I didn't quite know exactly what the fuss was with that yet, because I hadn't had a chance to really look into it. But it basically was just another arm of the government that was pissing away money or laundering money.
A shit ton of money. Yeah,
50 million in condoms to Gaza.
Oh, is that where that story came from?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I did see that. Yeah, that's a huge money laundering scheme right there. Why would they need 50 million condoms going over there? You know what I mean? But I see, like, Chuck Schumer. Yeah, I'm sorry. Chuck Schumer's on X bitching, a day ago about, an unelected shadow government is conducting a hostile takeover of the federal government. DOGE is not a real government agency. DOGE has no authority to make spending decisions. DOGE has no authority to shut programs down or to ignore federal law, and DOGE conduct cannot be allowed to stand. Congress must take action to restore the rule of law. So you got people like Chuck Schumer. They don't want any of this shit coming to light of where all this money's been going over the past.
And you can probably see why if you think about it. I mean, that's a slush fund for all these. If there's boards that these guys are sitting on, these politicians are sitting on, making 100,000 on the board, and plus whatever's has been probably funneled back to their campaigns. It's just dumb, stupid money, dude. It's ridiculous. It really is.
It's crazy, man. And it's awesome to watch it unfold, because I think, we're going to see almost daily a lot of shit's going to come to light on where this money has been going and how much money, because I don't even think we can fathom how much money is being spent in places it doesn't need to be. Just like the one that we talked about earlier with the vacant buildings, $15 billion a year. I would have never guessed that. If somebody would have told me to pick a number, I might have said, like, maybe, 10, 20 million. I mean, they're talking about $15 billion. Do you know what else could have been done with that money?
Absolutely.
And that's just the tip of the iceberg. I mean, we're only weeks into this presidency. Imagine what they're going to uncover as these days go on. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
they're bringing all this shit to a screeching halt, and it's amazing to watch right now.
I'm loving it. I mean, our comments ain't liking it, but yeah,
No.
I mean,
I don't care.
yeah,
I don't care. But
yeah.
I know what another thing I do like is this, this freaking tariffs that are just, I mean, he's giving them out left and right, like you on Oprah Winfrey show. Like everybody gets a tariff.
But he backed down to Canada and Mexico.
He didn't back down. He didn't back down. What he did is he said he had a conversation with Trudeau, and he extended it for 30 days because Trudeau was on there kissing his ass and convinced him otherwise. Trump ain't taking no freaking L. He's never taking L.
I see that argument so much on Twitter that Trump backed down, but he got what he was asking for. Like he said, hey, help us secure the fucking borders or there will be tariffs. And then both countries said, no. And he said, okay, tariffs. And then right before the tariffs, they were like, you know what? I think we can make that work. And then they sent help. I don't understand.
Yeah, and it's a war no other country will win when it comes to these tariffs, because they were talking about some of the numbers, like with Canada, like 75% of the shit that they export comes to us.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Well, when you start putting these huge tariffs on that shit, and then we Americans stop buying it, well, what happens to Canada's economy? You know what I mean? And anybody with a brain knows that. Trump knows that. He holds all the cards when it comes to these tariffs, and he knows it. These countries will try to bluff for a minute because their leaders don't want to look weak, like they're being pushed around by Trump. But in the end, if you want your country to survive economically, well, you might want to start playing the game a little bit, and that's what they do. They eventually all give in because, I mean, they need us to buy their junk, basically, from all over the world. I mean, it's no secret how it works. That's why anytime he starts that tariff shit, I'm thinking, well, here it goes. He's about to win this battle too. You know what I mean? The other country's going to give in.
Like Canada needs us to buy their crude oil because they can't refine it.
Yeah. What are they going to do with it?
Nothing.
That's true.
That's what I mean. What are they going to do with it if we don't buy it? You know what I mean?
Nothing.
Yeah. Now, I don't know what the conversation they had and what exactly, they talked about. He hasn't announced that yet, but apparently it was good enough for Trump to hear to, go ahead and put it off for 30 days, I guess, until they work something out. But
I think they already had like a border protection plan in like ready to go. Canada did. That included like the whatever billions of dollars towards the border, and I think it was helicopters and some other shit, was already kind of in motion. So on top of that, they added their own border czar that they're gonna, I guess, elect, or however the fuck Canada does shit. They have it's a border and fentanyl czar. So basically, they're gonna be looking, at the fentanyl and
about
shit.
That. Is there like, I guess there's an influx of that coming from that border too?
Yes.
I didn't realize that.
There's a ton of it being produced in Canada. Like they're getting the pre-products of fentanyl, and they're making it in Canadian labs and shit that are set up by the criminals.
So this was brought upon by Trump, basically, demanding that of Canada.
Yeah. So the additional things to their border plan, the border and fentanyls there were a couple other things that actually in Trudeau's tweet, he says it. You can see the border plan that was in action. He said under it, and he was like, and additionally, and then all the listed items are what him and Trump, I guess, had discussed.
Well, they're winning, dude, and they're out for blood right now, and you can tell. I mean, I think the FBI is about to start going after a lot of crooked ass people now that, it's changed hands. And I just think Trump is on a mission. He's not out there saying it's a revenge, presidency, but he is out for blood. You can see it, but he's doing it the legal way. But I think he wants to take down as many crooked politicians as he can. And it just seems like it's already in action with just finding out where all this money's going, because they're about to start naming names and who was doing all this shit. You know what I mean? And that's why people like Chuck Schumer are on there freaking out right now. All this shit. Yeah. Oh yeah. AOC also, she sat there and said Elon's the dumbest billionaire she knows.
Right.
And I'm thinking this is coming from AOC, calling Elon dumb. I mean, come on now, pick somebody else,
Yeah.
I mean,
Ricky, why are we screwed if we don't buy it? I'd like to know.
Yeah, and
Anyway.
he may have a legit answer, but yeah, Ricky, that was in the comments because I'm not reading.
Yeah, if we don't buy it, we are screwed.
Short term, we might be. Short term,
Nah.
You don't think so?
Not even a little bit, dude.
What's up, Germany?
Yeah, I look at it as, it's like, do we have the infrastructure to manufacture? We have outsourced everything in this country just about. We produce hardly anything, if it's steel or if it's tires or whatever. I know we do it in some form, but I do think short term, you'll see it where it hurts us a little bit. But it's like anything, man. There's got to be pain. You got to correct what these politicians have done over the last probably 30 or 40 years. There has to be a correction point, and nothing goes from horrible to good overnight. There is going to be a little bit of pain in between,
Yeah, definitely. I think it'll jump some prices of some things, if like full tariffs did go in swing, but I mean, just off the little bit, what was it, a week of tariff talks towards Canada, and I mean, I've seen a number of Canadian companies talking about moving operations to America.
Good. And that's what you want. And that's what tariffs should do, if it's manufacture of cars. I mean, look at Dodge products. Most of them are probably made in Mexico. So I'm all for it, man. You're making it over there, bring it over here. You save the taxes, you create American jobs. It's to me, it's a win-win,
Yeah, I didn't even think about that aspect of it, that these companies could just decide to come here and go bypass those tariffs, which is fine because, like you said, that's bringing jobs to America. I mean, it's a win-win. There's no way to lose at this tariff war. I just don't see it, because we're just too powerful of a country when it comes to buying crap from all over the world, Yeah. So I think it's an amazing job. You're going to see people bitch and cry about it because it's like you had touched on, Brad, that it may not be an immediate fix. Like we may see prices go up on things because it's going to have to settle. You know what I mean?
Exactly right.
And that's all the left is going to point out, that little bit of time that it's just not looking too good. Oh, I told you, see, we told you, instead of looking at the big picture in the long run,
Yes. I mean, I'm going to tell you, look 3 months from now, and I'm kind of I'm looking down the road. These Democrats will be out here screaming, look what Trump has done. We're in a full-blown recession. What did they say? Is it 3 months or something like that of lost GDP? We're considering recession, something like that. Guarantee it. They will be out there touting it, which they never touted with the Biden administration, which I truly believe we're in a recession right now. I really do,
Yeah.
Just with the inflation the way it is. But yeah, like Ricky, what you say is because we never opened that Alaskan pipeline. Well, it's thanks to the Democrats that shut it all down. But Biden has signed an executive order opening ANWR and full drilling on public lands. But that doesn't happen overnight, man. I mean, you got to start it over basically. So, it's going to take time to get it up and going.
Yep. What's up, German man?
What,
somebody from Germany in there. I don't know his name. Velcro boy or something like that.
I want to see what he's talking. Let me pull up the video here. I was curious to see what he was talking about in this.
Proxies who have threatened to retaliate against you and your team by killing you guys for taking out so money.
Well, they haven't done that, and that would be a terrible thing for them to do, not because of me. If they did that, they would be obliterated. That'd be the end. I've left instructions. If they do it, they get obliterated. There won't be anything left. And they shouldn't be able to do it. And Biden should have said that, but he never did. I don't know why, lack of intelligence, perhaps. But he never said it. If that happens to a leader or close to a leader, frankly, if you had other people involved also, you would call for total obliteration of a state that did it. That would include Iran. So
Well, he's talking about you come after me. That's the worst mistake you can make.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, you think they would think it would go down like that? Or do you think if Trump was out the way, these snakes would get back in there too quick to allow something like that? Because basically, you heard what he said. I mean, they kill me. I left instructions to destroy the place. But it's like somebody has to carry that out. You know what I mean?
Right.
You don't think JD would do it?
Well, I just don't know if JD would have that control, you know what I mean? Or will them, you know, like I said, them snakes get back in there too fast now that Trump's out the way and start, you know, screwing shit up again that quick? Or do you think it's just that fast of a decision? Just go, you know what I mean?
Well, I think it should be.
Press the button.
Absolutely.
Press the button.
Yeah, roll with it, dog.
Yeah. No, I wanted to see what he was saying. I seen the headline about it, but I didn't get to watch the video. But he's basically like, well, I've thought of that before. So, you know, it's the last thing they want to do. But let's see.
They got to be stopped, man. Iran is just, I don't know, man. They need to be stopped, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, they said, you know, the Trump, they basically his administration had notified 1,000 Environmental Protection Agency employees that they could be laid off immediately. So he's essentially, I mean, you know, some people say, well, he's, you know, making people unemployed, you know,
Right.
but it's like, but it's all just wasted nonsense positions.
Absolutely.
I mean, the government is like daily just makes up positions to hire people in, you know what I mean? And if you walk into anything run by your government, whether it be local or federal, it's not like it's running like a well-oiled machine with all these people around, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's part of what Trump notices is that we don't need this many people to do this. You know, kind of like when Elon took over, you know, Twitter. He's like, the people are just laying around doing absolutely nothing all day. You know, we don't need this shit.
Shane, you see it like here in our local politics, man. We know people that work in the government jobs and within our parish, you know, and it's like, shit,
That's some of the laziest motherfuckers.
Really? Yeah. You know, it's unbelievable.
That's true, man. Everybody you know that works in the, you know, like you said, parish or counties, whatever you call them around the country. But, you know, just it's basically their whole job is to sit there all day and figure out how to avoid doing work.
How to avoid it. Exactly.
And that's not all of them. I don't want to say everybody who works for a county, but there is a majority of the ones that we know that is their day. Like they get there, you know, in the morning, and the first thing they all start discussing is where we eating lunch today. You know, and that's it.
Exactly.
So then they fuck off for about 3 or 4 hours trying to hide, you know, and you know, act like they're riding around doing things, and they go eat lunch for an hour or two, and then they work another 2 hours or so, and then they're off. And that's their daily routine. You know, it's just do enough to where you can say, hey, you know, we fixed a couple things today, and that's it. You know, it's a gravy job.
Hell yeah.
But that's your government in a nutshell. You know, people sitting around riding the clock, getting nothing done, you know, and that's kind of what he got Elon on board, you know, for, was to try to, you know, stop a lot of that shit, man, and look through all of these agencies and all these departments and say, okay, where can we cut some of this spending? And it's all taxpayer funded. You know what I mean? So it's like every citizen in the country should be for that. If you pay tax, you should give a shit, because nobody in government gets a paycheck without taxes. That's where it all comes from. You know, what Ricky say? Short of like the 36 windows and only 2 workers. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I guess I'll give them that. I have been in the DMV before, and there's just, you know, all the windows are closed, and there's like he said, about 2 people. So maybe they need to hire some more people for that. But
yeah,
or better.
And then the 2 that are there take 2.5 hours per person that walks up, and there's 50 people in the room.
Yeah,
well, you can see why DMVs have been privatized here, man.
Because they don't care, you know. If say she gets a lady, I'm gonna say lady because everyone around that I go to, it's all just women sitting at the windows. But they get there 8 o'clock or whatever. Well, they got to be there till 3 or whatever the time they get off, regardless of how many people are sitting there. So they don't care. You know, they just sit there like you said, Justin, just taking forever on each one. And you're sitting there, you know, tapping your freaking foot on the ground like, come on, you know, I got somewhere to go. But I mean, they don't give a shit.
They give nothing. No.
I guess I wouldn't either.
I'm glad it got privatized.
Yeah.
They got all them, which kind of brings up another good point of why does like privatized companies like that sometimes work and sometimes don't, right? So like you've got NASA, which hasn't done ass for a while. And then you have Elon that comes out, SpaceX, and they're just making, you know, a bunch of just landmark, you know, historical shit going down. And then you've got where like we have pharmaceutical companies that are private, and they all take advantage of the situation and are just full of fucking snakes. Right?
Yeah, I think it all revolves around, I guess, the driving force of what you're doing it for. Like for instance, with Elon. Okay, it's not like how NASA has turned into where there's probably so many people at NASA that just these chain of commands. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
There is no. It's Elon. Elon says we're building a damn rocket and we're launching it in a week. Well, that's what the company's going to do. You know what I mean? With NASA, it's just become like every other, huge corporation, basically, where there's so many hurdles you got to go through. And there's probably a bunch of, crooked money grabbing bullshit going on with them too.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
So I think you get too many hands involved. It becomes too big to where there's not like one person's running NASA,
Mhm.
So I think that has something to do with it. I'm sure there's a lot more to it than, I'm able to explain, but I just think that's some of it. It's been around for so long, so it's turned into a shit show like,
Yeah.
everything else.
A lot of
But
political red tape, dude.
yeah, and as far as pharmaceutical companies, I don't think any of them are private. If you look at it like that, I mean, they're all public as far as stocks. You know what I mean?
Well, I'm saying like government versus private, because I don't think
oh.
pharmaceutical would be better if it was ran by the government or
Hell
stays the
no.
way it is. Like either way, it would just be a
Yeah.
piece of shit industry. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it was just they were allowed to make too much money is what ruined that.
Yeah.
That's all that ruined that, the pharmaceutical thing. But I'm with you. The government wouldn't run it any better,
Yeah.
and
no.
they can because you see when Trump gets in there, things that start to change. How he basically, it's like it's not that hard. We're making this a lot harder than it needs to be.
Mhm.
But that's just not, for some reason, that's not what these everyday politicians want. You know what I mean? Because the last thing you want to do is fix a problem. You know what I
Yep.
mean? And that's kind of just like the pharmaceutical company. The last thing they want to do is cure you. There's no profit in that. You know what I mean? So there's no profit in fixing anything when stuff's in shambles, because somebody's benefiting from it. You know what I mean? Somebody has a job fighting homelessness. Somebody has a job trying to keep these buildings that are vacant. You know what I mean? There's somebody that was making money off of that.
Yeah.
So it doesn't pay these people, once they start getting a taste of that money, to start fixing issues that are going on. There's way more money and just putting a Band-Aid on it. And I think that's exactly what Trump's exposing right now. But I was listening, I forget who was talking about it, but they were talking about how the homeless problem in San Francisco or whatever, how it was generating income for these organizations that would go over there, and they would have people that were making six-figure salaries fighting homelessness. So why would a person making six figures ever want to cure the homelessness problem? You know what I mean?
Exactly right.
You're out of a job. You're out of a job. And that's the government also in a nutshell. I mean, you fix something, people are out of work, and that was the one of the big, cases of that, basically, is that, when you got people making $150,000 a year to combat homelessness, well, who the hell, why would you ever fix it?
You wouldn't. Right.
Financially, it makes no sense. I mean, now you're on the hunt, filling out applications again, trying to get another job, so it's a big problem, man. Money ruins it all, dude. It
really
fucking
does.
ruins everything, man. Just the greed for it, that's same thing with, without getting too crazy, but a lot of the religious stuff, these pastors and preachers that are, living in $1 million mansions, I mean, that's another thing. It ruined that. The one I respect is if he's living in a modest, $200,000 home at the most, and just, doing what he's got to do to preach the word, but not living lavish, but you don't see a lot of that.
No,
not saying it don't exist. It's just you don't see it. You see the ones all over TV that
probably
don't. So anything, the point of it was, but it just corrupts everything. Once there's too much money to be made, it starts weeding out the decent people, and then all you have are these snakes that rise to the top.
Yeah, it's just like, it's almost like it's human nature to just be a piece of shit when you have an abundance of a resource.
It's hard to fight the urge, because everybody, I mean, we're selfish as it is. I mean, everybody, you look out for yourself first and your family. So if you've got the opportunity to, make a decent amount of money, and even if it's not illegal, but morally it's wrong, what I mean? Well, some people can't fight that urge. It's like, well, it's not illegal. I can sit here and make $500,000 a year. Might have to fucking lie to some people and sell on some pills they don't fucking need, but it's not illegal. So
No, exactly.
you know what I mean? So that's where it is, man. That's all it boils down to, is just that lust for money.
Yeah.
It ruins a lot of people.
It is. It's the root of all evil, brother. It really is.
It really is. And look, I mean, we all doing it. We're all chasing the dollar. That you just try not to, fuck everybody over while you're getting to it. You know what I mean? But not everybody's like that. They have people that are willing to do it, and that's a politician.
Yeah.
So, that's about all it is, man.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So Trump firing 17 inspector generals. Are we legal or are we not?
I don't know.
Yeah. I don't see. I mean, why you talking about it for him to do that?
Yeah.
I mean, shouldn't he have the power?
Well, supposedly he's supposed to
argument?
give 30 days notice to Congress, basically.
Okay.
And he did not. So, according to Lawfare, it says Trump fired 17 inspectors general. Was it legal? Probably so, but Congress has lawfully constrained the president's authority to replace the fired IGs. Let's see, a bunch of legal mumbo jumbo. Okay, so the removals are probably lawful, even though Trump defied a 2022 law that required congressional notice of the terminations, which Trump did not give. Trump probably acted lawfully, I think, because the notice requirement is probably unconstitutional. And that's where we're at in a nutshell.
That's why you can't get anything done. And you know what I mean? That's why. You're constantly, it's always something that, has to do with, the Constitution or Congress or this, and look, I'm not saying we don't need that, because we got to have checks and balances. We don't need a king, but this is why nothing can get done. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because no matter what side is making these decisions, the other side's going to find some reason they can combat it. You know what I mean? And then in the end, nothing gets done, or it takes forever. Instead of both sides working together to say what's best for the country. You know what I mean? But you just don't see
exactly. Well, that was that was the argument that he gave for firing them was quote, changing priorities, end quote. And they were like, I mean, the congressional notice requirement doesn't specify the grounds on which a president can remove an IG, but it does say that he has to give notice. But it says that the president can remove an inferior officer under SELA law's interpretation of Morrison unless the officer has limited duties and no policy making or administrative authority. They said that they agree that an IG probably exceeds that standard. It exceeds that standard, but they have narrower powers than the independent counsel that was deemed constitutional. So basically, like, the way the law is written, they kind of fit in a gray area in between.
Right. Yeah, they're right on the line with that rule as far as having any kind of, power or anything, or any kind of say so,
Yeah.
Because it's saying that he can't fire immediately like the head of a department.
Sure.
But the IGs work under the head of their department,
Yeah. I mean,
because they have a boss, basically, is what it's saying, So it fits right in the middle of a constitutional gray area of whether he can or can't. And if, the notice is even legal in itself. So that's it's a big like circle of law literature that they're trying to figure out if he can or can't do that. They're like, Trump just fired everybody. And it's like, can he do that? What?
I don't know. That Constitution's a motherfucker, huh?
Dude.
I mean, just the foresight of the guys that were, creating that to just, this issue may come up or this issue. I mean, it's so crazy that for how old that is, for, what's in it to run a country like we're in. I mean, because a lot of it, I mean, it's for great reason. You don't, like I said, we don't need a dictator. We don't need a king.
Yeah.
And that's what that all has to do with, to where, a president can't just get in there and start getting rid of people because he don't like them. You know what I mean? It doesn't work like that for the most part. If they have any kind of, what was that stipulation on it again? What were the words they used?
As far as what?
Well, when you said, unless they don't have any kind of, I'm saying say so, but that's not the term.
What did they say? Policy making or?
Yes, that. Yeah. It's basically nobody's, you know what I mean? If you've got any kind of say so on policies and all, he can't just come in there and get rid of you. It doesn't work like that because somebody voted you in for that, basically.
Right.
I mean, so it's a good thing. It's a good thing, but it's just so crazy that, our forefathers had all that in mind, while coming up with it. It's just crazy to think that back then they were either dealing with it, or I guess they have dealt with it because they came over here to get away from all that bullshit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But so it definitely has its place. I mean, the Constitution, it's good we have it, but it sure gets in the way when there's just a cut and dry job that needs to get done. I mean, it's like fire all these motherfuckers because they haven't been doing nothing. They've been doing
amazing.
Absolutely nothing.
It is amazing, huh? How a 250-year-old document is just still living and breathing. It's nuts.
Bro, it's crazy.
Really
it's just, to me, it's just crazy. It's like they saw what was coming. They know how man is, in meaning, the greed and the corruption, and the power hungriness. They knew it. And they damn near put every precaution in there that they could think of, and it still stands true to this day. So I guess it just shows you that people haven't changed at all. You know what I mean? Because they weren't just predicting the future. They just knew that if we allow someone to have control, they're going to abuse it. Yep. So we have to make sure they can't. Now, there may be a lot of steps you got to go through to get something done that needs to be done, but those steps are necessary. And that's kind of what it shows. It's crazy, man. It's very amazing.
It is.
But I was watching, not to jump to something else, but the damn plane the helicopter that hit that plane.
Oh yeah.
Justin, you're an expert on things that explode. What went on there, dude? I mean, you think there's some nefarious shit behind that, or you think it was just a woman driver?
I think it was just a woman driver, honestly.
No, bless her heart, man. They said she she had like 500 hours of training, from what I was understanding, and they said somebody was saying that a commercial pilot was talking about how you need 1,500 before they allow you to do it commercially. But yet somebody was up there flying a damn Black Hawk with 500 hours of, you know what I mean?
And look, I've got about 250 hours in Flight Simulator, Microsoft.
Then you're just as good.
So I can tell you firsthand, it's pretty difficult to see things, out of
it's a little tough.
Aircraft at night. Yeah, like you just little bitty windows, big old planes, I
just don't know how, the video's up now. Like, how do they, just move, go up. I mean, that thing was going straight at that damn plane. So of course it makes you wonder, like, what was really going on there?
Absolutely.
I mean, was it purposely done?
I don't think so. I think so. If you watch, you'll see, I don't know if you can see it in this clip, but there's another plane, and you can see it on Flight Radar, actually, if you go back in time on Flight Radar. And for one, there's another plane right behind that plane. And there was another plane taking off from the same airport.
Right.
So it was never really clarified between the two parties, being the helicopter and the FAA, which plane the helicopter pilot had in sight. They just said, hey, there's a plane coming, basically. Do you see it? And he was like, yes, I see a plane. Well, there's 4 in the air, So FAA is thinking that the pilot's talking about this plane that they hit, which obviously nobody had in sight. Right. And the helicopter pilot must have been talking about either the plane that was taken off or the plane behind the plane that wound up in the river.
Yeah. So what you think? It was just a confusing fucking mess going on? Because I think
so.
From what I saw too, they didn't have enough people in the control, the tower control or whatever you call that, that, you know, they were
Yes.
shorthanded or short staffed or whatever. So I guess it was just a huge mess. But as far as the pilot, you don't think the pilot of that helicopter saw that damn plane?
I don't think so.
I mean, and because like, what's the odds? Like, all of the space in the air.
And I've said that, but when you really read on, all right, so I wanted to get my personal pilot's license, right? They won't let me because I've been diagnosed with ADHD and have had an Adderall prescription, so I'm unfit to fly a fucking airplane.
You done.
Anyway, but there's like, it's almost like highways in the sky of like specific routes that planes take, different altitudes. So, you know, like planes just don't fly like wherever they want.
I see what you're saying. It's not just a free for all. Everybody's just all over the. Yeah.
Right. And because I've always wondered that too. I'm like, there's so much fucking sky. How?
Yeah.
How? But it's because they fly and like if you get on flight radar and look at planes coming into an airport, they're right on top of each other in the same line going to, like, they're not veered off, you know, 100 foot in either direction. Like, they're right behind each other and the altitudes are all the same. So I think an experience either with flying or with the area came into play too, because over that section of the river, helicopters are permitted to fly, but they're supposed to fly under 200 feet.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
That helicopter was at 400 feet, which happened to be exactly what the plane was at.
So, I mean, you don't think like that helicopter, it was a Black Hawk, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you wouldn't think that thing has some kind of system on it that was just going crazy saying, hey, you're this close to anything around. I mean, any object. Because, I mean, we're talking about flying in the sky. Like, it's got to have some kind of sophisticated system on it that some kind of fucking noise had to be going off. Like, you know what I mean? You would just think they'd have some kind of safety system that we just don't really comprehend because we're used to driving cars all day long. But, I mean, you're flying a damn a military helicopter, you know, around places where you know there's going to be other air travel. So I would just think they were equipped with something that says, hey, look, you know, so many 100 yards away, there's an object, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It just seems like it was so, you know, avoidable, but I mean, I've never flown one, but
the basic, honestly, military aircraft is going to have all that. Like, I know, so the jet airliner, they have, like advanced warning systems, like, hey, you're gonna get in a crash, like some shit's about to go down. Yeah. You know what I mean? But with the military, it's like, I feel like they're almost meant to be flying close to other shit and in close proximity to stuff, and, you know, in unprecedented areas for aircraft. Like, they're not meant to just be on a regular air flight path. They're meant to be in battle situations where there's no predicting what's going to happen when we're flying today. We don't know, you know? So if they have warning systems or, you know, avoidance systems on them, that may fuck you up in war if you and another helo are flying next to each other or something, you know?
Right. But how hard is it to flip a switch and turn that off? It's like, now we don't need it in this, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying, I know I'm simplifying it. Like, we're just going to build a helicopter, but I'm saying I would just think that all the technology out there, that something like that helicopter that this person was flying would have some sort of warning system, whether you can turn it on or off for different situations. Because I see what you're saying. I mean, in a combat situation, you may be flying close to buildings or, you know, whatever, that you don't want that shit going off all the time warning you, but you figured it's like, okay, turn off. You know what I mean? Yeah. I don't know. I mean, maybe I'm oversimplifying it, but
again, there had been I think it was 3 or 4 in the last year or two close calls at that same airport between helicopters and airplanes.
Yeah.
So it's not a once in a lifetime event that just nobody could have seen coming. Like, they've had close calls.
Sure. I got you. So there's just a bunch of screwing up going on at that airport.
I think so. I think they have way too much going on, and you know, they're probably allowing stuff that other places wouldn't, but I think it was a perfect circumstance thing where you had I won't say an inexperienced pilot, but, you know, inexperienced with the area at least, because they were 200 foot above where they were supposed to be.
Would you see what Mama Bear was saying in the comments?
I agree with her, man.
She said,
That's true.
The airlines still use floppy disk and paper flight strips. They haven't updated our flight technology in over 40 years. But that's the airlines. I'm talking about this damn government funded, Black Hawk shit. I mean, god damn, you would think they were a little more sophisticated than that, to be able to just go straight beeline towards another freaking, flying object. I don't know. Like I said, I'm talking out my ass because, I don't know. I'm ignorant to it all. I've never been on one. I don't know how they work, but I just know we come up with some shit. I mean, look at the stealth bomber. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we come up with some shit in this country and some technology. So I just figured there'd have been something on there screaming at the pilot.
I just
there's
don't
another aircraft in your space.
And there might have been, and maybe it was turned off.
It may have been turned off, and I think it may have been a lot of complacency. I mean, like they said, they have to call in, obviously ahead of time so that they know the coast is clear. But at the same time, they did say that these helicopters are allowed to fly directly under jet airliners, but they're supposed to be at 200 feet. So I think everybody, including the pilots, probably knew there was a helicopter there. They didn't think it was at 400 feet, So they're like, okay, well, we know we're flying directly at a helicopter. This isn't uncommon, know. So no problem.
That was what Donald was saying in the comments, that they have to report hours and plenty of time in advance before landing so they can make sure the coast is clear. So I guess that was a screw up, because I'm sure they did report, but apparently whoever's directing these flights, because that's another thing, I don't know how that works when they're inside them towers directing all this nonsense. But I just keep going back to, I would have figured there was some sort of system on the helicopter itself, to let you know that there's danger ahead. There's something. I mean, you could just fly.
There may have been a warning go off,
Yeah. They may have been in there, fucking bumping music or something, not listening. I don't know. Nobody knows what went on. Everybody's dead now, or at least they say they don't know what, went on. But, I know when people start throwing around the idea of it being purpose, I'm thinking, I hope that wasn't the case, but I mean, it sure did. Yeah, I don't think it was.
I'm waiting on the NTSB report to come out.
Yeah. I think it was just error. It was just errors on a lot of people's part. You know what I mean? So I think that's all.
Because I mean, you think just go look up close calls at the Chicago airport. In the last few years, they've had so many planes that are told that they can be in one area, almost get landed on by another plane, almost get T-boned by another plane. Like it happens because you've got humans involved.
Mama Bear, you got the studio number. Give it a call if you got time, if you're free. I'm gonna talk to her. She's a helo expert. So, yes, we got a helo expert coming on. Let's see if she's got time to call in. But anyway, like I said, it blows my mind when you watch that video, that thing just going straight for a while. It wasn't like it just out of nowhere a plane popped up. You know what I mean? There's nothing else to see but this fucking thing flying in the air. Yeah. And then somehow they just perfectly line up with each other, which it makes sense what you were talking about earlier, Justin, how it's not just, it's not just a sky that they're flying in. There's actually paths that they take purposely. Absolutely. You know what I mean? So for some reason they were on the same damn path. Let's see. Can y'all hear that?
Oh yeah.
Mama Bear. Hey, you.
I'm here.
I know you are. So tell us, so apparently you've flown these helicopters before.
Hell to the no. I just pay attention.
No, I hear what you're saying. So what you were saying that it was 200 feet above the altitude that it was supposed to be?
Yeah. So first of all, the female flight pilot she worked for the Biden administration.
Oh,
so
yeah.
That right there makes me not trust it, especially with the recent terror attacks that's been happening and involving the military.
Right.
So that makes me question it right there.
So
then they were flying 200 feet above the altitude they were supposed to be.
I got you. So what are you going down the path of there was some, some ill shit going on? Like, you know what I mean? Like somebody was purposely.
Because they were flying at the plane. There's actual video footage of them flying directly in the same straight line with no deviation for over 60 seconds. And like they haven't updated our technology for the airlines in over 40 years. They literally use floppy disk and flight strips.
Jesus Christ.
like paper flight strips. So, but the actual military helicopter, they should have had all kind of sirens going off. Like they should have enough up-to-date technology in our helicopters that there was some kind of alert. Like, hello, you about to hit something.
Right. And that was my argument the whole time, that I refuse to believe that they make these machines without, any kind of
warning systems.
Right.
Yeah.
Something had to be going off.
Absolutely.
Saying, move this fucking helicopter. There's an aircraft in front of you,
Absolutely.
So I don't know.
And the fact that they were flying directly at the airplane for over 60 seconds, there was no deviation. And even when they got close to it, there's no freaking way, even if visually they were looking at a different airplane, when that thing was right in front of them, there's no freaking way that they didn't see it. There's no way. Yeah. And they did not move at all. Those helicopters can move on a dime. Like they can move you with like a flick of a wrist. And there was no movement. It went straight into it.
None, not even at the last second. It wasn't like oh shit, and then they tried to move. It was nothing. It was straight into it. And
that makes me feel like it's something other than like I don't believe that it was just an oops, because I'm telling you, if I saw an airplane 10 feet in front of me, I would have been like, oh shit.
You would think most people would. I don't need a sophisticated system to tell me to.
Right. There would have been some kind of jerk at the last minute. Like, oh.
But it wasn't, man. It was almost like the shit was on autopilot and they were in the back playing. You know what I mean?
Well, they might have been, no telling.
But still, like you said, if it was hundreds of feet, from where it was supposed to be as far as altitude goes, then that's something was wrong there.
That's the problem.
But well, Mama Bear, let me ask you something. What you thinking about this tariff war we're getting into? You think
they are all freaking out over nothing? Everybody knows that this is how Donald Trump negotiates. Like all this freaking out and hissy fitting is ridiculous. He always goes in. We all know that you have to. You got to ask. You got to start off with way more than what you actually want.
Yeah, it's negotiating. Yeah, it's the art of the deal.
He's negotiating. He is the best negotiator, the art of the deal. Mm-hmm. And everybody freaking out is ridiculous because we knew he was going to do this. He said he was going to do this. And of course, Justin Trudeau, overcompensating. Yeah. He's got to come out and act like he's going to do something. And then within less than 24 hours, he's like, oh, by the way, actually, it was probably less than that because
I'm sure
he had a call with him in the morning. And then the call by the afternoon, he had a second call with him. And he was like, yeah, this is it.
And honestly, I don't even know what people would be freaking out about because the tariff is only going to work in our favor as far as the United States. I mean, there is no country that's not going to give in eventually because we talked about it earlier. They need us to buy their shit. It's that simple.
So America, we only get 15% of our import or exports, whatever imports come from like foreign, whatever.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
In total.
right?
Like from everybody. Mexico and Canada only account for 5% of that 15%.
So they're nothing. It's nothing. Keep it. You know what I mean?
So it's nothing. We don't need that shit.
Yeah.
So then, but we provide 30% of their imports.
Sure.
So, and we also fund their economy.
Well, that's what I was
like. They need us.
I mentioned it earlier that I was reading somewhere that they said it was like 75% of the shit that Canada exports comes to us. So without that 75% coming to us, they're screwed.
They're done. Yeah, they're done.
Exactly.
Yep.
So they can try to play like this game, like, oh, let me not look like a weakling, but we knew you were going to cave. Shut your mouth and just say, give me more, daddy.
And they all did it quick too, man. They all even Mexico. I think it was Mexico. It was like a few hours or something. They gave in already. I love it. No, but look, man, it looks like he's making some amazing moves. And I think the more you see the left start crying, the more you know he's doing something good. So it's good to see that, because every day I get on X and that's all you're seeing is people bitching and crying about what Trump's doing. And I'm like, oh, he must have did something good overnight. It's crazy.
Yep.
But this man's done more than 100 hours.
So every 24 hours, we're getting so much more the news cycle. It's like crazy.
It's been hard to keep up with. That's why I was trying to do a little prep for the night. And it's like, my God, man, it's like every day it's like, okay, that's cool. We talk about that. And then it's like by the end of the day, there's something else. And it's like, Jesus, like you can't even keep up with the moves that he's making right now. I did see that was it the AG got approved?
Yep.
The Attorney General earlier.
Pam Bondi.
Yeah, so he got her in. It looks like all of his picks are starting to kind of move through. So I think we're going to do great with that. They're all they fight.
Looking like he's going to get into.
Yep. Looks like he'll get that.
The main one that I am concerned about is Cash, because they do not want him in there.
Oh no, because he
is going to go in that FBI and he is going to wreck.
Yeah, he's headhunting when he comes in, and they know it. Yeah. They know it.
So I know that he's definitely. He might end up having to. They're saying that he's going to get confirmed, but I don't trust that we won't need JD to be that final vote.
Yeah,
could be.
I've seen the breaking news saying that the CIA offered its entire workforce a buyout to quit their jobs and receive 8 months of pay. So it's like they're just dismantling this shit, man. It's crazy. Yeah. I love it.
They said that like 20, I don't know if it was 20% or if it was like 20,000, or I don't remember. It was either 20% or 20,000 people have already accepted the resignation.
I did see that. I think it was 20,000. Yeah, I saw that. Because, I mean, what is that from? You think they don't want to work under Trump, or is it like you're going to get fired anyway? So
I think that they're like, this is a good deal, and I'm probably end up getting fired anyway.
I got you. Yeah, so they're just taking.
Once they go in there, they're about to start investigating everybody that had anything to do with prosecuting J6 people under the wrong circumstances. Like they have certain things that they were charged with, like the thing that the Supreme Court ruled against and said that was not legal. Like they weren't allowed to be like that one. It was like, I don't remember what it was called, but it was like that one thing that they were charged with was not, that it wasn't the right circumstances for that to be used.
Yeah. They were basically just, political prisoners. I mean, they were
they were just charging them with that just to throw the book at them, basically.
Yeah.
So everyone that was charged with that, they're going to go back and look at the prosecutors, and they're going to start doing investigations on the prosecutors who used the wrong legal.
Well, let me ask you this. So were they part of this pardon that Biden did? Because didn't he pardon like anybody that had anything to do with the J6, council and all that shit? Or are the prosecutors in on that?
I think that was for the committee.
Okay.
I think that was only for the J6 committee, like all the senators and stuff that were like Liz Cheney.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
So there may be a few people out there that can still be held accountable for that bullshit that they threw at these people then.
Yes.
But the people that were behind
definitely should have pardoned himself, because he just basically made it so that nobody could plead the fifth against him. Everybody that he pardoned no longer has the ability to plead the fifth against him. And he didn't pardon himself, so he can still be charged. And they can drag them into Congress and make them testify, and they can't plead the fifth, and if they lie, that can be a new charge.
Right. Yeah, but I mean, I don't know how that process would work. Would it take all of Congress agreeing to charge them? Like, in other words, would it just be one of these dog and pony shows where the Democrats are all going to say no?
Basically what happens is if Congress brings them in and they lie, then they can give a referral to the FBI, or it's either the FBI or it's one of those agencies who we now control.
We control, yeah. Oh, well, hey, look, man.
So they can either give it to the Attorney General or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if it's the Attorney General or if it's the director of the FBI, and let them prosecute them. We can't, Congress can't actually prosecute and charge them.
No, yeah, I know.
Give referrals.
Yeah, that's what I was meaning. Like, does it have to be some kind of unanimous decision to refer it? You know what I mean? That kind of nonsense that goes on. That's all I was wondering. Like, if it was still going to be this political game being played, even though we control a lot of these government entities, there's still, Congress people that are in there that are going to vote against anything that the Republicans throw up there. So I didn't know if that was a vote type thing or.
But we have the majority now, though.
Yeah, well, that is true. But they got snakes in there too. You know that.
Oh yeah, they do. Like Bill Cassidy's stupid self.
Yeah, they got snakes that say, "Hey,
I can't stand him," and he's one of the ones that's standing in the way right now.
Yeah. Yep.
Saying that he wasn't sure if he was going to confirm. I think it was Cash.
Well, I wonder how he would fare if
RFK. It was one of them. It was RFK because it had to do because Bill Cassidy's a doctor,
right? And
he was like, "Oh, I don't like that you don't. You're anti-vaccine."
Yeah. Yeah, they give him hell for that, and he keeps trying to tell him, "I'm not anti-vaccine. I'm anti this bullshit you tried to force on everybody." You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, the big difference.
He wants to be able to do studies and look into all this shit and make sure that it is what they're saying it is, because all this stuff that they're saying, oh, it's safe, they're all making money off of.
Isn't that something?
They haven't actually done proper studies that have proven that this stuff is safe. And the studies that they have done have been funded by people who benefit from the outcomes saying that it's safe.
Of course. And if you dig into it enough, the results that these pharmaceutical companies give to the FDA and all, there is nobody to fact check. Like, they can turn in whatever they want. You know what I mean? Like, They don't even have to give you all of the study and say, this is what happened to percentage of people and this is what happened to the other percentage. They can turn in anything they want. So there's no checks and balances when it comes to that shit, No,
you just got to trust the science.
Yeah. Yeah. We see where that got us, but that's another one too. That Fauci bastard that, him getting pardoned. That was another one I wanted to see go down. I didn't think it was ever going to happen. I thought that he was going to be protected one way or another, but I had a little bit of hope that Trump was going to be able to get in there and be able to, get him prosecuted or whatever needed to happen. But I guess that's out the window now. So he got to wreak all that havoc on the country and absolutely no repercussion at all. It's terrible.
True.
Yeah, but there's a whole lot of other shit that he did from way before those pardons kicked in.
No, that's true. If you dig deep, you're right. You're right.
Oh yeah, and guess what? RFK knows all about his business.
Oh, that's why they so.
Fauci.
I forgot about that.
screwed over so many people with his AIDS studies.
Yes.
I mean, he is the most evil person possibly on this planet.
That's why I'm wondering, that part.
Did you hear about the Beagle study?
Yes. Oh yeah. Yeah. I heard about all that dirt. So
don't get me started.
So
he has just done so much nefarious shit, like in other countries that people don't know about.
Well, he wasn't insane. Like all of that pardon that he got. It wasn't just from anything in the past. It was just to do with that COVID stuff.
I think from
I'm pretty sure that there's a certain year, like, because he made it go back all the way to like a certain time.
I got you.
But Fauci's been in the government doing nefarious shit since he was young.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, I hear it, man. You know, Rogan has a lot of guests that he'll bring on that talk about that. You know, and you just find out all the dirty shit that man's been behind, like you said, with the AIDS stuff and then the Beagle, situation. He's evil. You said the right word. The man is just evil, and he gets to just basically walk away scot-free. Because I don't see anything playing out in his lifetime where he's held accountable to anything. You know what I mean? I just don't see it. I think he knew going into this that he's untouchable. And I just don't think there'll be enough people behind that to go after Fauci. I just don't see it, because I don't think he would have done half of the shit he did if he ever had an inkling that he might be held accountable for this shit one day. For some reason,
he definitely thought he was bulletproof.
Yeah, and it almost seems that way, man. It sucks, but that's most of them. Everybody involved in that just kind of knew that, hey, we can get away with whatever we want. I mean, who's going to do anything to us? We put too much money in too many people's pockets,
And that's why we need RFK in there, because he knows where all the bodies are buried, and he's about to expose it all.
It's so true.
Even if a lot of these people don't end up in jail, the best thing that we can do is expose this shit and wake people up to what they have been doing all these years and not let it happen again.
Amen. Open some eyes, you know what I mean? To where, they can't continue to keep doing this to people. And like you said, whether they're held legally accountable or not, if we can just get people to stop the blind trust in people like Fauci and the FDA and, all these pharmaceutical companies. And if we can just stop that, then you can save some lives possibly. You know what I mean?
Exactly. And we have to undo this indoctrination. They have taken over all of the colleges, all of this higher education. All of these people blindly believe they have dumbed down our education system in the like all the young kids are being indoctrinated early, and then you go to college, and then they have completely taken over the higher education systems. It's just like they can't get away with it. This whole generation of college students, like my age, thank God I didn't go to college, because I'm like,
you'd be on here arguing with us.
Lord have mercy. No, I don't think I would have, because my dad would have beat my ass. My dad had us knowing how to think from early age. We were listening to Rush Limbaugh in the back of his truck.
I hear you. Look, and I was gonna say, but I got some cases. I have friends that have raised, their household is straight conservative, like yours was coming up, but yet their children go off to college and they can't even hardly speak anymore without arguing because of the politics and all this shit, the way that their kid turned out. So, I mean, I think it does kind of start at home if you can teach your kids not to fall for all of it, but it doesn't always work. They start running with a different crowd once they get out the house. And then, of course, kids are trying to find themselves anyway. So they gravitate towards a group that accepts them. You know what I mean? And every kid feels like a fucking weirdo when you're a teenager. So if that's the group that lets you in, well, then you just start falling in line, And
the funny thing is, this new generation, Gen Z or whatever, they're becoming more conservative, because it has always been the cool thing to basically rebel against whatever you're being
Yeah.
Push whatever's being pushed on you. And this next generation, especially the males, they're coming up and they're like, I don't think so.
Well,
like they're becoming way more conservative.
Well, they're getting tired of being told not to be men. You know what I mean? And that's what it's boiling down to. That's what that side has pushed, is this toxic masculinity bullshit, to where a guy can't be a guy anymore. And eventually, I'm with you. Right. You start forcing shit on young people too much, and they're going to rebel. I mean, it's you know, as old as time. I mean, young people rebel against what the adults are trying to force down their throat, and that's what the left did the last few years. And I'm with you. You're starting to see a lot of young people waking up to it, you know, which is good to see. Right. Now, that pendulum always swings. It'll go back. You know that. You know, but if we can just get a few years of normalcy, that'll be nice. You know.
I think it's going to be way more than that. I think that even though we never wanted to see 4 years of Joe Biden, I think that was the best thing that could have happened, because not only did the people be able to experience the hell it was under a freaking socialist economy, because even if Joe Biden was supposed to be middle of the road, the people that were running his administration and pulling the strings were socialists.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what we got. All of the policies that he implemented were socialist policies. So we were damn near in breadlines. And then people had to see that and feel that to wake up. And I think a lot of people have woken up because of COVID, because of the 4 years under Joe Biden, and seeing all the bullshit that the Democrat policies give you. And it also gave Trump 4 years to sit there and stew on all the shit they blocked him from doing his first term that he wanted to do and didn't get done. And it gave him time to think and put a plan in place about all the stuff he wants to do this time, get everything set up and ready to go, and he is taking no prisoners this time.
Well, it's funny you mentioned it too, about the just the lack of money that drives people to vote a certain way, because Brad and I talked about that earlier today, that you can start trying to be as progressive as you want to be, and I want to vote for the right side, quote unquote, but when you start losing money because of who's in office, that wakes everybody up. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Because money's too hard to come by for most people. You know what I mean?
You gotta, once you start feeling it and you start realizing that all of this stuff actually affects you, and you start feeling it, then you're like, oh wait, hold up.
Well, what speaking of the economy and all, what's going on with the eggs? why are we in this egg shortage? I'm hearing people bitch talking about their $8-10 a dozen and shit.
So they basically, what people don't realize is that Joe Biden had like 40,000 or 40 million chickens murdered.
I heard something about bird flu. I did hear something about that.
Yes. So first they killed all the damn chickens because they was worried about bird flu. Right. And guess what? Without chickens, you don't have eggs.
That's what they say. Yeah. So that's what it is. Because I see everybody bitching so Trump's in office.
Saying, well, what's funny? All these Democrats kept on trying to say in the news, the economy's great, everything's fine. And then Trump gets in office, and they're like, "Why the hell why are eggs so expensive?"
That's what I'm seeing online.
What's going on? When are you going to bring these prices down? Yeah. Wait, hold up. You've been telling us this whole time that that everything was fine. The economy was great. You were more than willing to pay extra for whatever, if it means that, whatever. Yeah. They just, and then as soon as Trump gets in, they're like, oh my goodness, the price of everything is just insane. No. What are you going to do about it?
I see it.
I didn't cause this shit.
I see it every day on X. That's the shit I've been reading about the eggs. Everybody's in panic mode. Like, Trump's in office and the eggs have skyrocketed. Like, I bet y'all regretting your vote now and all this bullshit. And I'm like, what is going on with eggs?
That don't have nothing to do with eggs. Guess what? all the rising prices are going to be an aftermath of all the bullshit policies that Biden had in place.
Absolutely.
That the economy is not affected immediately by certain things. Like there's none of that stuff happens overnight.
Right.
So all of the stuff that's going to happen over the next year, any prices that are going to raise over the next year are still going to be the aftermath of Joe Biden's economy.
Sure. Guys, if you two don't let me just sit here and run my mouth all night, if y'all got anything to get out of Mama Bear, please jump in. I know y'all kind of been quiet just listening.
I'm listening. That's awesome.
Just making sure. I didn't want to take over the whole conversation with Mama Bear there, but I just wanted to pick her brain on some of that shit we have been talking about because she pays attention to this shit. What's some of your favorite podcasts you listen to besides us?
I listen to Benny Johnson. I listen to Glenn Beck every morning. I listen to Joe Rogan. Who else?
Do you
I watch Ground News.
Yeah.
Because they have a little bit of everything, and you can kind of see who's covering what.
Right.
So I used to listen to Daily Wire, but they kind of got in the weeds a little bit. I don't know.
What they started saying? They started having a different opinion on certain things. Danielle's like, I don't want to hear that shit.
No, after the whole Israel and Hamas thing,
yeah,
the whole company is Jewish, and I understand. I support Israel 100%, but like I can't listen to Ben Shapiro rant one more time.
I'm with you.
I just can't do it.
No, I'm with you.
And it's not just, and then they fired Candace Owens for saying Christ is king.
Yeah.
And then they fired, they didn't fire her, but one of the other girls that I liked on there, she left. And it's like anybody that's a Christian that is there, they're just like, they can't, like.
I see what you're saying. They can't really voice it as loud as they want.
Yes, they're the whole company is Jewish, and they had a few Christians working for them, and it was fine. They got along just fine. And then after the Israel and like that whole war broke out, and it was just like, all right, I can't take this.
Well, piss on the Daily Wire then.
Infighting anymore. It was just too much drama. I couldn't take it anymore.
I hear you.
They couldn't talk about anything other than that, and I couldn't listen to it anymore.
I hear, but they make some funny movies, so I will say.
Oh, I love their movies.
But I think that's that.
And they make good kids content too.
Yeah. I heard about that. I heard about it. All right. Well, I ain't gonna keep you all night. I just wanted you to chime in. I seen you in them comments.
Well, I got one more thing.
Please. Oh, well, you got
Did y'all
20.
hear about the USAID thing?
I did. Like we were talking about it earlier. That was one of the things that was just flooding in, so I didn't have time to really, get into the meat and potatoes of it. But what you educate us a little bit.
Okay, so USAID, a lot of people think that is an actual, they do aid. They do like foreign aid.
Right.
But that's not what they do. They are nation building. That's what they basically go in other countries, and that's how they influence other countries.
Okay.
They give them money and they do backdoor shit, and it's very... The Dems are freaking out about this because this is their
slush fund.
This is their money laundering baby.
Absolutely.
Gotcha.
So he has actually finally found the wound to poke. Okay, the reason why they're all up in arms about this is because he just found all of their money laundering. This is how they get around all the craziness. This is how they fund all of it.
They
awesome. Money launders for all the Democrats, how they fund all kind of crazy shit, and this is how they do it.
That's so awesome. Everything they do seems to boil down to some sort of money grabbing scheme. You know what I mean? Everything.
Exactly. Well, they were sending, millions of dollars to, I think it was like $200 million to Gaza for condoms.
Yeah, well, I'm reading some of it.
Do you think that money is going to there for that?
No, look, they, let me tell you a couple other ridiculous things.
Transgender operas, transgender magazines in Colombia.
Yeah, and look, there's
all these like 200 million here, 500 million here, like for all these crazy things. That money is not going to those things.
No, they got $2 million for sex changes in Guatemala, $6 million to fund quote unquote tourism in Egypt, $20 million on an IROC Sesame Street show, which Justin mentioned earlier. But I mean, yeah, you just go down this list and it's just ridiculous, man.
And guess what? None of that money is going where they say it's going.
Of course not.
And it's not going there for that. This is their money laundering scheme, and he just exposed it.
And this one, $2 million.
They know they're about to lose it all. This is their control. This is their power. This is how they have funded all of this crazy shit for all these years, and this is how they have stayed in power because they have had endless supply of money. You know, they have had whoever was in charge and whoever was at the top was told, you do not. Like whoever writes the checks or whatever, and like pays like 100% of payments that came through were made. There was not they don't turn down anything. They were told you don't turn down any payment that comes through here. You approve everything.
Right.
There has been not one thing that has been turned down.
So who the hell is all this money going to? I mean, you think people?
I think that all these deep state actors are lining their pockets, and they're paying their friends. Just like Kamala went in there and spent all kind of money to run, and millions and billions of dollars paying all these crazy celebrities, millions of dollars to come perform. And crazy stuff. I mean, they literally spent $150,000 to turn a hotel room into a set.
I saw that for that.
For her to do that podcast with Call Her Daddy or whatever.
Yes.
Just insane amounts of money that they were just throwing away.
Sure.
And you know damn good and well that money. Like none of the stuff that they said that they spent money on, none of that costed what they said they paid for it.
There's no way. What's up, little terabyte? I see you joined in, brother. How you doing? So yeah, no, you're right. I'm still looking at this list. It's crazy. It's $32,000 for a transgender comic book in Peru. $70,000 for a DEI musical in Ireland. I mean, what are we doing? You know,
absolutely.
God, man.
But the worst part though is that the Republicans are in on this shit.
Of course,
they might not be, but they're all benefiting from it too.
Of course,
that's the same reason why when we have elections here in Louisiana, like this last election, I wanted to vote against Bill Cassidy so bad.
Yeah.
We can't do that because it's either basically vote for him or give your vote to the Democrats because whoever runs against them is not funded enough to be able to win.
Sure.
It's just insane.
No, but it's like you said, the stakes are on both sides, though. You know, and we saw that with Trump's first time Trump was in office. I mean, it was like he was fighting both sides, and he's doing it now because they're all dirty.
And even Kennedy.
Yeah.
Kennedy talks. He's funny, and he talks like he says what you want to hear. But then when it comes time to vote, he doesn't always vote the way we want him to vote.
Right.
I call his office like a crazy person all the time, and I'm like, you better fucking vote the way we want you to vote, or I'm going to vote against you.
They're going to block your number.
And I'm going to get all my family to vote against you, too.
I love it. I love it.
Absolutely.
They claim they supposedly give all those messages to the person, like they have to, being a public, servant or whatever.
Yeah, I emailed Bill Cassidy like 6 months ago, and he just sent me an email back like a week ago.
Let me tell you to go fuck yourself. Let me tell you.
You would think after the message I sent him.
Anyway, all right. Well, look, I know you got other shit to be doing than BSing with us. So, but anytime, girl, you see us on here, you got the number. Let me know you're about to call. I'll make sure the lines are up. But it's been a pleasure.
Good. See y'all later.
Yep.
Bye. All right, Mama Bear. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Mama Bear bringing the heat tonight. She pays so much attention to that shit. That's why if I got any kind of questions, it's like, what was going on with this? But She don't trust nothing. She's probably worse than we are. Everything is a government conspiracy. And look, not to say she's wrong. It's just funny, man. I thought I was bad with that shit. She don't trust them bastards at all, and for good reason. I
love it, man. When she said Glenn Beck, man, that's like my number one go-to guy. Yeah. Doom and gloom, man.
Yep. Well, Justin, what's up with you, dude? You just been chilling. He's like, man, I didn't expect her to go off like that. But anyway, well, I guess we'll wrap it up. We'll let Mama Bear finish it up for us. So that was good.
Absolutely.
We'll start getting some more calls on here. We appreciate all y'all checking it out. If you hadn't subscribed yet, please hit that button. We appreciate it. And we will be back same time, same place every Tuesday. So y'all stay tuned. Till next time, BSing with the guys. Y'all behave.
Congratulations, Beyonce.
Oh, no. We ain't leaving. Hold on. Hold on a second. What the fuck did their album have to do with country music?
Dude, why country music of the year?
How is there any other way to show people that your little show that you put on with these Grammys is nothing but a damn joke? I mean, that was the best way to show the American public that none of this means anything. Nothing. Have you heard any of the album?
Was the Texas song on there?
Yeah, that's the only one I've heard.
That's the only one I've heard.
But she throws on a cowboy hat and some boots, which, by the way, she looked, good in her outfit. I mean, she always does. But, it just shows you, like I said, and I heard Eminem a while back talking to Sway on a little podcast they were doing, and he was talking about the Grammys and why he will never go to those ever again, because he said he basically described that situation, how they just pick people that they want to win these things and they don't give it to people that deserve it,
Right.
So he said they get everybody in there and they invite people like him because they know it draws an audience. Eminem's going to be there. And then you go there, and then I think it was when 50 Cent's album came out, which one of the hottest selling albums ever, and he didn't win it. They gave it to some bullshit nobody. And that's when M's like, you know what? Never again will y'all get me in this motherfucker to help y'all promote this shit, basically. And then y'all giving the awards to people like that, which is what they did the other night, because I'm sure there were plenty of other country artists that deserved that. You know what I mean? I don't know who all was in the mix, but I'm sure there was a better country album than what Beyonce.
Dude, Buddy that threw the chair off the top of the building in Nashville. Hottest country star in the world right now.
And got some amazing music. And what's his name? It's Brad. What's the young dude, man? He threw that damn. Didn't he get caught screaming the N-word too?
Yeah.
God, what's his name? And I got him on my playlist on YouTube. Let me see.
Fuck.
Hold on. Morgan Wallen.
Yep, that's
Morgan
him.
Wallen. Fucking awesome music. Yep. Awesome. And he's look, I'm way above his fucking age. It's not even my fucking group anymore, but I still listen to some of his songs, and I'm like, that dude, I love some of them. They're good music.
He's got great
and then
music.
they sit there and give it to Beyonce. Like what? And if you sit there and complain as an artist, then all of a sudden you're going to be blasted as a racist.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
If any artist comes out and says, I don't think she deserved that. Why? Because she's black? And it's like, no, because she's not a fucking country music star. That's why.
Why can't a black woman win country?
And she can. But that was just like when they came. they came with that bullshit when Lil Nas X came out with that stupid Old Town Road, and all of a sudden it was a country hit.
Yeah.
Like, get the fuck out of here, man. You know?
Yeah, it's like when they were getting mad at Macklemore for winning like rap album of the year, rap song of the year, and everybody's like, what the fuck?
No, that one did. I forgot all about that debacle because I mean I don't watch the Grammys. A lot of people probably don't. You know what I mean? So it's just kind of a joke of a show now. But you talk about any type of reputation you're trying to keep. You talk about ruining it. You know what I mean? And not because it's Beyonce. It just, but they know that's not the damn country album of the year. That was so stupid.
Yeah.
But anyway,
choices.
All right, well, look, what else you want to be fired up about?
All right, before we go, I have a conspiracy suggestion.
Go ahead.
I think maybe the government made it snow on us the other day. All right. Because
explain.
Okay, so we broke records snowfall, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Right.
So the previous records were set in 1893, right? Okay. So 1893 also happened that Grover Cleveland won his second term, non-consecutive. Okay. And then this year, we had record-breaking snow. Trump wins his second non-consecutive presidential term. And it's the only two presidents ever to do it. And it's the only time that we've had record fucking snow in Louisiana. So I'm connecting the dots. I think, I think something's going on here.
It's not reaching at all.
No.
Right.
I mean, the dots are just perfect. Wow. Hey, look, and they got people out there that you know they will believe that they'll die on that hill, man.
Absolutely.
The government's making it snow for whatever reason you said.
It's hell freezing over, dude. Trump's back
Hell
in
is
office.
freezing
Louisiana's fucking got more snow than northern states. I mean, you know.
True.
And we did, honestly. I mean, it's unheard of around here.
So
Yeah. I wasn't looking into it that deep. I just figured, hey, let's enjoy this for a couple of days.
Yeah, absolutely. 9 inches or whatever it was. Yeah.
Trying to see if we get off any other hot news. I'm creeping X real quick. Anything? What about y'all watching? Anything interesting? Anybody in them comments? What y'all got? Any good? Any major news? Questions? Comments?
News? No.
Let's
I was
see.
watching a documentary about the black market organs the other day.
That's a
where
big
you go to
thing, ain't it?
Mexico and get like a kidney or something. Yeah.
Yeah. So I wonder what it cost. Probably like $1,000.
200,000.
Yeah,
Damn.
but
They'll
if you
sell you a
got
fucking
money,
kidney.
damn, and then you got to trust them to operate on you, though. Huh?
Yeah, it's like cartel doctors and shit. Like doctors apparently teach the cartel how to do it.
Yeah. So then, what do they steal out of you while they're while they're digging around in your body? You
That's
know,
what I'm thinking.
could you
Like, how
imagine
would you
trusting that
trust them?
process? I mean, let's say, I guess if you look at it like this, say if you were going to die anyway, and it was your last resort, I guess I could see that. You know what I mean?
Right.
I wouldn't go in there with high hopes. Let's put it that way.
Which leads me to my question of at what point does preserving your life overtake your ethics? You know what I mean? Of a person, and like, because the organs come from somewhere. Where do you think the cartel's getting the fucking organs from? You know, like you can
like
those
it's donated.
dots.
It's not like they're donated. Yeah, I see what you're saying.
They're not paying for them, so
right.
it's
Well, you'd be benefiting from someone else's, demise.
Yeah. So it's like if you like got the news tomorrow that you were gonna die in 2 months, and then you happen to find this Mexican cartel connection that was like, oh no, we can get you a liver. Yeah, definitely. Look, come pay us whatever, and we got you. Now you know where the liver came from, but so it's like,
well, if it's life or death, I don't think most people would give a shit. You know what I mean? If they don't have to see the person, it's not like you sat there and watched someone be murdered for you, But I mean, honestly, if it's like, look, this is your last chance to survive. Now, let's not discuss where this organ came from, but we can get you one. I mean, most people are going to be like, all right, out of sight, out of mind, just get me that liver. You know what I mean?
I need it. Yeah, I need the liver to survive.
Yeah, and it's probably like, I mean, if we're being fair, Buddy was probably gonna die anyway. Like the cartel got him, you know. It wasn't like he didn't have a second chance.
Yeah, it might as well benefit somebody. Huh?
Yeah,
Absolutely,
the cartel was
dude.
like, well, if this dude buys this liver, I'm sorry, but you're done, you know.
I'm as you're talking about, I'm scrolling X and I'm seeing Stephen A. Smith ranting about, basically what you're really saying when you want DEI is you want white dominance. And I'm thinking, why does that, when you're ending DEI, sorry, that's what you're wanting is white dominance. And it's like, why does it have to go to that? You know what I mean? Just because you want people in, any kind of position to actually know what the hell they're doing. I don't understand where that comes into a race thing, but that's apparently what he's on here bitching about with Trump, because Trump's ending all that DEI stuff. And it's like, it has nothing to do with any race dominating anything. It's just somebody flying an airplane. I'd rather them be trained properly,
Well, there's no other way you can defend DEI other than saying the people that aren't for it are racist.
Yeah, that's the only way. Exactly.
That's the only way you
go to.
Absolutely.
So, man, hey, speaking of we were talking about the Grammys earlier. Did you see Kanye and his old lady roll up there? Whose idea do you think that was, honestly?
Kanye.
Yeah, Kanye. That's what I'm thinking. And I'm like, man, why would you do that to your old lady? Not that he forced her and brought her there in chains, but I mean, it's like to even put your old lady out there like that. And look, I get it. I mean, I see her and he's proud of her and I see why. Right, yeah. It's like, man, like, come on, dude. I figured a woman would have a little more respect than that,
You would think, but
it was just, I couldn't believe it. And then I'm thinking at first, like, it's like, damn, that's crazy. But then it's like, well, that's Kanye. Yeah, I don't know what he's got coming up, but he needed the attention for some reason.
Yeah, because have you seen his Twitter? Like, his Twitter's been going off.
What has he been bitching? What is his deal? I couldn't even keep up with it.
No, it was
Kanye's Twitter. Come on, everybody.
I saw one. He said, I can say whatever the fuck I want because I'm rich. This is for broke me.
And he can. I mean, honestly, but it's like, what is your deal, dude? So let's go. Well, let's take a trip down to Kanye Twitter.
I would proofread his Twitter first before you display it because we will definitely get our live taken down.
I didn't tweet it. He did. Let's see. All right, let's go back. Oh yeah, well they got some nudity in it.
Yep.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. We're gonna get off of that. I thought you meant by the words he was saying.
No.
Damn it. Well, I can't show it because you're right. But yeah, it's a bunch of like Polaroid pictures of him and his naked ass wife.
Yeah.
Just nonstop. So then it goes up to, let's see.
Well, they got escorted out because they weren't invited, apparently.
No shit.
Yeah, that's what I
thought it was
saw.
she was dressed like that. So it was just you don't have a ticket, dude.
Yeah.
Wow.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, what's he bitching about? I don't keep up with sports. Who's ready for okay, whatever. When you're too old to say that's nonsense.
Him and Taylor Swift are friends now or what?
Yeah, I think they made up after he did what he did. I risked my life to wear a red hat, then he turned it black. Talking about Trump. Fuck reading and anyone who can do it. I don't know what that's about. That's wow. Anyway, so yeah, he's going on a rant again, but
he's got to have an album dropping or something.
That's what I'm thinking. Like something usually going on when he starts that shit, or any of them celebrities start acting out like that. They got some reason they need people to pay attention.
Can we check Crack of the Day for a second? Can we just see who Crack of the Day was?
Cracker of the Day, yeah. Who is this?
I want to see who join as the
fourth
was.
In our comments. Somebody wants to join as the fourth. I don't even know what the hell that name says, so no.
Nope. Can't read it.
All right. Cracker of the Day. Let's go to AB. Where's old AB? Let me pull him up. Cracker of the Day. Boy, he's turned that into something, huh?
Yeah.
He's supposed to be going on Rogan soon.
Is he?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, they were tweeting at each other. Crack of the Day, Beyonce. Yeah, he gave it to Beyonce. I love it.
Oh, man.
Did you see, look at this little boy sneaking a peek at Kanye's wife. Did you see the Will Smith's son's dumbass?
Oh, God.
That's actually what this photo is making fun of here.
Right.
But I'm trying to figure out what kind of statement he was trying to make. I'm
what?
I was trying to see if AB had it on this thing, but I don't see it. But you can see here, Rogan hitting him back. Let's do it, brother. Give me an email, and I'll have my guy Matt reach out with dates and set up your flights and hotel.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, them two are supposed to connect. That ought to be a good one.
Shit, yeah.
Hell yeah. So there it
he
is. This weird. I mean, what? Why? Your dad is freaking Will Smith. You got everything you need in life, besides attention, I guess. I mean, but it's like, what are you doing here, man? If I'm the dad, I'm calling him up like, son, what the fuck? I mean, what are you doing? What are you doing? Yeah. Jesus.
Something right.
This one?
What is?
He's showing all these white people in blackface, all these liberals.
It's the ends of
bitch
the day.
about it.
It's true.
That's what he said.
Same ones that bitch about it, They're all hypocrites. Like Howard Stern. That's Sarah Silverman, maybe in the middle. That's Jimmy Kimmel.
That's
Justin
Trudeau.
Yeah, I can't make out who this is. And that top. But anyway, yeah, it's all he's poking fun at. And poking fun of is just these liberals out there so hypocritical. This dude don't like Jimmy Kimmel, dude. God,
dude.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
Yeah,
I guess you're
absolutely.
right. Anything else good on AB shit? I guess not. That was a big one in the sports world. Looks like you boys going to the Lakers. I don't watch much of it, but I've seen it all trending. But anyway. All right, let's wrap it up. We've talked enough shit. We appreciate y'all tuning in. Y'all have a good one. We will be back in a week talking more.